Traveling from your birth country and living in another one for a long time always brings feelings of nostalgia. And for me, living in the US for 2 years, I've had time to really consider the things that I miss about Cameroon. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you six of the things that I miss from Cameroon. And guess what? It's a collab. Hi, my name is Kamga Tchassa and I'm a Cameroonian living in the US. For the past 2 years, I've had to deal with a lot of changes in my life, and one of those things has been to adapt to this new country. I've had to find different ways to do that, whether it's getting new friends, connecting with family, going to new projects. And if you haven't watched videos on the channel, if this is the first time we're meeting, then you probably don't know a lot of my story. So I wouldn't want to waste time telling you all that. I have a couple of videos where I did a video where I was talking about, my first year in the US, how much that experience was, and the second year as well that I did this year. You have another video there in the card that you can watch. But in this particular video, and the reason why I'm extremely excited about this is because I'm doing it as a collab. This is my first ever YouTube collab. I reached out to 6 other Cameroonian YouTubers who are living out of the country, because I think this is something that many people who have lived out of the country for a while really get. Because sometimes while we're in Cameroon, we don't see those things because we have nothing to compare with. And all it takes is for you to live in another country for just a few weeks, maybe even before you realize, wow, I didn't know this was actually an integral part of my life. This was something that I really wanted to have in my life. So I have Miss Williams, who agreed to participate in the video, my friend Sammy, who is in Canada, Akanji, who is here in the US, and Sedi, who also was able to make a video, as well as Pretty V, and Quinn, who has a special place in my heart because, she has part of my wife's name in her name. The links are all going to be in the description. The idea was to share the things that we miss. So let's get straight into it. But here, go read this book, find out about the immigrant experience by a Cameroonian author. She was on Oprah's book club. There, book recommendation finished. Okay, I lied, I'm sorry. But in order to understand Cameroon and its history, this is a book for you to read. Scribbles from the Den by Debussy Tande. Okay, I'm done. No recommendations anymore. Okay, one last one. Limit to Lagos. Non-fiction from Cameroon and Nigeria. You have to read this book. Let's get into the video. Number 6, complementary insults. The way to explain this is, imagine somebody who really likes you uses a word or a phrase that sounds like they are being negative towards you. And the biggest example that comes to my mind is the word move. My father has a story of when he was in Israel that is a very long story, and to summarize it, somebody was able to recognize that they were sitting on the table, that the people sitting on the table were Cameroonians, simply because they were doing that thing where they basically insult each other as a compliment. And that's how weird it is, and that's something that I miss about Cameroon, because here, my wife does it, and her siblings, they have their own way of doing it, but it was different when you have your people, your friends, your crew, who know how to, quote unquote, insult you in a complimentary way. And that's something that I really miss about Cameroon. Number 5, cheap rent. Yes, I know, developing nation versus non-developing nation, Cameroon, US, why am I comparing 2 different countries? I get it. However, if you've worked in Cameroon and had a salary and paid rent for yourself for a while, and then you move to the US and you have a salary and you have to pay rent for yourself for a while, the discrepancy in the amounts, this is Cameroon, this is the US. Yes, the standards of living are different, but bro, I miss, being able to go to Mamiput with 200 francs, which is like less than half of a dollar, probably like 10 cents, and get a meal and pay a cab for like $1, and you're expensive. Like if you pay 500 francs to go to anywhere you're in Yaoundé, that's how much you'll be paying to go to places. That is a lot of money. So moving to the US, living here, working, yeah, I miss the cheap life. I don't know, maybe I'm just cheap, but I miss that ability to do a lot with a little bit of money. Number 4, free time. Free time is something that I think exists everywhere in the world, but in no place have I seen it being used as well as in Cameroon. The idea of hourly work is something that I think has been globally accepted, but it's particularly prevalent in American culture. In Cameroon, people have, jobs, and they're supposed to be there at a particular time. And yes, there's some jobs that require certain, people to be there at all times or at specific times. However, one thing that I miss about Cameroon is the ability to be able to relax and not do something that has to work towards the future. Maybe that's just my perspective when I moved to the US and I felt like this urge, like, nah, I'm in this country, I have all this gear, I have all these things, I should do more. But I feel like there's an air of relaxation in Cameroon that doesn't exist here as much, because, you know, you're getting your rent, money is leaving your account, you're getting your taxes at the end of the year, you're getting, you know, when you're sick, you have insurance, you have to pay bills and everything. Not having that time to just relax and just chill with my friends, maybe I'm just nostalgic, maybe I just grew up too fast, but I miss that. All right, halfway through, 3 are left, and before I continue, I need to let you know, first, have you subscribed to the channel? Why not? Now would be a good time to do that. Second, all the links to the videos of the other collaborators of the channel are in there. And something I wanted to say about the YouTube collab, the Cameroonian YouTubers group. I have never found a group of people on a digital platform that remind me so much of Cameroon as this Cameroonian YouTubers. Yes, of course they're Cameroonian, but there's a certain sense of Cameroonianness, that edgy nature of the Cameroonian, like the whole, you know, complimentary insults. Like, I have friends that I enjoy the banter that feels like if somebody doesn't know who we are, you think we're fighting, but we're not. And I think you should check out the videos from the other Cameroonian YouTubers. Number 3, I feel worried about this. My wife is going to agree with this one. Soya. I know I should say food. I know I should say, you know, meals and my mom's cooking. I miss my mom's cooking, that's true. But there is something about grilled pork meat from the side of the road no home barbecue can ever replace. You just cannot replace soya. Number 2, I call it the feeling of construction. When you live in a country like Cameroon where there's so much opportunity around, whether it's in the technology space, the healthcare space, or even just infrastructurally speaking, there is a certain sense of construction that you have in your mind about the future. A lot of the things that I've always wanted to do they always revolve around building things that did not exist, whether it was a library, whether it was a publishing platform, whether it was a production house or something of some sort. Cameroon was the kind of space where we would look, or I would look and see a certain, like, wow, this is an open plantation for me to do things. When I moved and came to the US, my mind basically stayed in Cameroon. I think that something I miss a lot about Cameroon, or me right now, is that sense of I can build something that did not exist. And I'm still working on adapting to the new country, the new structure, but I feel like everything has been done in the US. I feel like I'm not bringing anything new to the table. Yeah, I'm helping out friends, you know, making new friends and being with family, but that feeling of construction, a feeling that I'm working towards something, or that I can do something that would change somebody's life in a major way, I miss that, you know? Number 1, but before we do the top thing on my list, go down to the comment section and let me know, what do you miss about Cameroon? If you're an immigrant, or you're traveling, or you're out of town, what do you miss about your home place? Let me know in the comment section. I would like to interact with you as much as possible. Top on the list. The biggest thing I miss about Cameroon is my friends and family. Just thinking about it just give me the chills now. Some people cannot be replaced, and no matter how much technology has enabled us to stay connected, you know, I miss hanging out with my parents. I miss going to the lake with my dad, making jokes with my sisters, playing video games with my brother. My brother is, I can vividly see in his face when he would laugh and say "moof" when you do something, you know, when you poke at him verbally or with an idea or something. And I miss those interactions, hanging out with Howard, Mark, my friend Leslie, who is now in the US. I'm sure she'll probably really understand this feeling of my people aren't there. This doesn't undermine the support I've received in the US. I've had friends, in-laws, family, many people who've become my family now. But leaving Cameroon and coming to the US, that took away those relationships that I had in the form that they were. And it's something that cannot be replaced. Those are the 6 things that I missed about Cameroon. I'm sure there's more. There's like a lot of things, but it's one of those videos that I think should be just sweet, brief, and off. And I'm still going to make more memories in the US. I'm looking forward to going back to Cameroon eventually after the world, you know, looks like we can actually go back and do things. And in the meantime, you can go and see 6 other people sharing their story about the things that they miss about the same country. And I think they'll be probably very similar in some ways or very different. I don't know. I think mine are pretty generic but very personal for me, which goes to exemplify how our human condition and, you know, the human experience is probably like one big thing. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to see you in the next one.